There they are. Okay, so I'm here today to talk to you about aviary. Grab the clicker. So aviary is our clinical collaboration platform that solves a lot of our problems internally. But before I get into it, I'm going to tell you a little bit about our organization and the problems we face. So UHN is a large healthcare organization in Toronto. We have 4 hospitals and a college. We also partner with U of T for a lot of research things. So we treat a lot of patients and we deal with a lot of data and serve a lot of researchers. We've been building clinical applications for the past 20 years, and we've met demand adequately. We've done this by scaling horizontally and building a lot of individual applications as funding and demand arises. This runs us into some problems that we'd like to solve. So if you have a bunch of separate applications across an organization, you end up with different UIs and incompatible structures. So sometimes clinicians get confused and we end up with a lot of support cases based on that, which is a patient safety issue as well. We have data in silos, which is something that's very important right now and very important for research goals especially. And then we also are wasting a lot of effort and time. If we could consolidate this work, we would be able to build more apps more efficiently. But that's a tough problem to tackle. This is what we're trying to do with Aviary. We've built a platform that allows the construction of healthcare applications based on a data specification. And it allows business users to potentially construct these templates and deliver clinical applications without heavy involvement of an IT department. So some of the principles behind Aviary. We have a data-first approach. By constructing applications based on a data specification, we're able to ensure that applications are independent and share as much functionality as possible. It also means that we can easily inspect what an application is doing and easily update the application at runtime. We also share reusable components. We've created a semantic UI language that is built on top of HTML, but can easily be mapped onto any native components or any changing technology as it emerges. We also have great runtime flexibility, not only because we store our applications in the database, but because we use technology associated with Clojure, which allows us to reload workflows and accelerates development. We also, by using AidBox, which I hope everyone saw yesterday, they're excellent, we're able to provide self-service analytics with really, really powerful tools. And we also have extensible modular architecture. So here's a look at what how Aviary is architected, pardon me. We have 2 storage models. We have our application storage, which holds forms and any sort of working data. We then, on completion, persist to AidBox as our FHIR server. We have IBIS, which manages multi-user synchronization and integrity of data with a front-end layer, which is the core of Aviary, which handles rendering data and getting clinicians to where they need to go. So here's a look at, one sec, sorry. Just play that, oh, and I've broken everything. No, we're okay. Okay, so here's a look at form building. We have our form side by side with a browser, and as you'll see, it's going to update immediately. A form is composed of 4 major parts. We have our metadata, which handles how forms are indexed and sorted. We have our model, which is an operational data model that's built ad hoc. We have our views, which describes the UI, and then we have our rules, which describe how data is interrelated. So here we see we're updating weight in kilograms, and it's changing the other pieces of data in the application. It does this transactionally based on rules. We don't have to write any custom logic outside of expressing the formula for BMI in order to get that live update and that transactional locking. Now we'll see we're adding a physician note to the application. We've just added it to the model, and we're just adding a widget right now. As soon as it saves, the browser will pick up the note, and we have all of our data still filled out for testing, and we've added our component. It's updating live. We also can rearrange the components quite easily, and it will also update immediately. Now we'll go back to the slideshow. So an important feature for Aviary, and one that we've lacked in the past, and it's been troublesome for us, is the ability for multiple users to edit the same document at the same time. This isn't necessarily important for live collaboration, although that is useful. What it does is it allows us to not worry about locking entire documents down, which can get locked for multiple hours at a time, or can be duplicated or left hanging. We have a lot of information for clinicians about who is viewing the current document. We have our list of editors, and we can also see that we're graying out fields as they're being edited. We can also see as we edit any of the vitals, because we have that BMI calculation, we're locking the entire group of fields at once. And this is calculated automatically based on the rule specifications. And again, remember, the specification of rules is simply the mathematical formula or the logic behind how they relate, and has nothing to do with any of the operational behavior of the application. So, as you noticed, our data model for the application itself is quite ad hoc and doesn't directly map to FHIR. We do this because FHIR is, while very useful, quite cumbersome at the application development level. It has a much larger scope, and rightly so, but that's not necessary and can hinder development of small applications rapidly. The way we've chosen to solve this is by having a data mapping and transformation language that, on document completion, will submit the document to our CDR to allow analytics and sharing once it's complete. This DSL is also extensible and can adapt as FHIR grows. So why did we choose AidBox? I'm sure you had a very convincing argument as to why you might choose AidBox yesterday, but some of the reasons we chose them is because the resource properties are represented as data. This follows our data-first mindset with Aviary, and it was a natural fit. The upside of this is we're able to inspect and react to how data is structured and interpret FHIR relations programmatically instead of hard-coding them. They also have a very clean and intuitive schema for their data at rest. This means that if we needed to migrate away from AidBox, or God forbid FHIR is no longer supported, becomes legacy, it's much easier to migrate away from AidBox than if our data was locked up or hard to inspect and reason about. They also have really great tools for working with data at development time and in production. They have an excellent web UI, as you all saw. They also have direct SQL access and a REST console in the browser. And also they have great analytics tooling using Jupyter, which produces some really nice visualizations, as you'll see. So here we see the web console, and this will show the power of the metadata-based approach. So let's say you wanted a FHIR extension for a field on a patient, and you need to build a form really, really quickly that supports this. It can be challenging to get organizations to agree on a standard format for the extension so it can be shared. But you want to get started quickly. AidBox allows you to define custom attributes as if they were native to FHIR, so that if they get added to the FHIR standard later, or if you build an extension for them, it's quite easy and efficient to migrate to a proper solution. This also means that we can start developing our application now without waiting for organization consensus or some sort of solution. The analytics tools are also quite nice. It's built on top of Jupyter, which is a Python tool that creates a notebook or a workbook that gives you visualizations of data. The integration with the data from AidBox is quite tight and easy to work with. As you can see, we have some pretty rich visualizations with only a few lines of Python. And Python is a language that most data scientists are familiar with and comfortable in. So this was a natural feature and excellent for us. So as you can see, or as I hope I've convinced you, Aviary is a complete solution to all of our problems. Because we have a platform where all of our applications live, and the specific logic for the rendering is handled by a cohesive platform, we have consistency across all applications. This means that clinicians will see the same thing whether they're dealing with a booking form or an assessment, and they'll feel cohesive. We also have quick development. By using live reloading, similar to how Excel gives you feedback, we're able to engage business users and make our feature set much more discoverable. It's easy to play around with this sort of thing and feel out what you should be doing. Also, because we have data, we're able to, because our applications are data, we're able to put a UI in front of that, and hopefully in the future we'll be able to empower business users even more to create forms. We also, thanks to AidBox, have excellent analytics support and access to data, and this solves our problem of unifying our data model using FHIR, which is great. And then we also have fairly minimal training and maintenance, because all of the logic is shared. So we're really happy with this so far. We have it in production already, and we're rapidly expanding the number of services we have on the platform. We've noticed that there's a lot fewer support cases, and it's a lot more reliable than supporting individual applications, and we're able to do more work with less developers. We're also able to engage clinical centers much more easily and get features delivered back to them much more quickly. UHN is investigating ways to provide this kind of solution to other organizations and collaborate with other people to get this across healthcare, hopefully across Canada, North America, maybe even worldwide. We'll see. But yeah, so come and chat with us afterwards if you want to talk about potentially getting something like aviary in your institution. Thanks.